Hey everyone, it's Roger.
And Christine, and Bernie too. We got some requests that Bernie should be back in the video, so we woke him up from a nap and here he is.
He's back. And we would like to welcome you to our Tuesday night watch party of Rimsky-Korsakov Scheherazade, which is one of the greatest musical stories ever told. Tonight's watch party and Thursday's watch party feature works that are going to be part of Symphony New Hampshire's 97th season. And I'll be conducting this work in January 2021, actually. And then on Thursday, we're watching a performance of Leonard Bernstein's Symphonic Dances from West Side Story, another wonderful musical story. And this is going to be featured on our opening night concert in October. So as I mentioned, Rimsky-Korsakov Scheherazade is one of the great musical tales.
Absolutely. And it takes as its inspiration a series of tales, these being Middle Eastern tales known as the 1001 Nights. Some of these tales go back as far as the 6th century, but most of them were composed or collected during the Islamic Golden Age. And by the 19th century, they had appeared in numerous translations and editions across the world, which is when Rimsky-Korsakov would have come across these tales, of course. So what ties these many stories together is the figure of Scheherazade, who also serves as the thread that ties together Rimsky-Korsakov's 4 selected tales in his orchestral masterpiece. Scheherazade has the misfortune of being married to a king who has a history of disposing of his wives because he doesn't really trust them. So knowing this, she is quite crafty and witty and realizes that she's going to ensure her life by keeping the king interested. And she does this through storytelling, always telling a fascinating story before bed and then leaving him with a cliffhanger. So she does this for 1,000 nights, and on the 1,001st night, she tells him she's out of stories, which is understandable because this has been about now 2.5 years, a little more than that she's been telling stories. And so even though she's now out of stories to tell, the king has in this time fallen in love with her, and she thus ensures her life.
And as a musician and from a musical point of view, Scheherazade really highlights Rimsky-Korsakov's mastery as an orchestrator. And there are 3 things that I really encourage you to listen for tonight's performance. The first thing is, of course, his use of orchestration and the way he is able to create these dazzling effects and brilliant musical colors from different instruments. After all, Rimsky-Korsakov did write the book on orchestration. In the first movement of this piece, you're going to hear high harmonics played by the strings and the strings plucking their strings, and this is called pizzicato. And you actually hear the waves of the sea by the rising arpeggios and the cellos. The second thing to listen for are these brilliant solos that are given to the different principal musicians in the orchestra. So the solo violin represents Scheherazade, the main character of this story, and the melody is very seductive, almost delicate. The piece opens with a very stern and loud proclamation by the trombones, which represent the Sultan. And then in the second movement, you hear the sound of the prince, and this is represented by the bassoon and the oboe. As a conductor, I really try to bring out the foreignness and exotic qualities of these instruments. So I often ask the musicians to take a little bit of time, almost creating this effect as if the music is being improvised rather than composed. The third thing to listen for is this use of rhythm, the way Rimsky-Korsakov drives the rhythm forward. There's always this sense of momentum and propulsion throughout the work, especially in the 4th movement, where the brass section is asked to play at an extremely fast tempo, different multiple tonguing, so double tonguing and triple tonguing. As a trumpet player, I can tell you, this is a real challenge. It's very hard. And as a violinist too, I know there are a number of challenges as well.
Absolutely, but it's an incredibly rewarding piece to perform. It's exciting and it's engaging. As you said,
it's fun.
It's a lot of fun.
It's fun. The musicians love playing this work. If you're an orchestral musician, it's just a lot of fun to play.
And one of the things people talk about with Rimsky-Korsakov is he had a knack for allowing the idiomatic qualities of the instrument to really come through in the writing. And so you talk about the different colors of the orchestra. And I want to point out with color, Rimsky-Korsakov was actually what we'd call a synesthete. And he saw, when he would hear a particular key, a particular collection of pitches, he would actually associate those with individual colors. And so I'll mention that in addition to sort of listening for like the rise and fall of melodic lines to indicate the ocean, you may want to listen to just the sound that washes over you. After Scheherazade, the figure of Scheherazade introduces the first movement, we'll be put onto the scene. We'll meet a sailor named Sinbad. And this is cast in a key of E major, which for Rimsky-Korsakov, when he heard that key, he associated with a brilliant and dazzling deep sapphire color, which for him then would be the color of the ocean. So that's just a fun little fact.
And I didn't know if you mentioned this, but Rimsky-Korsakov was a naval officer. So he was really fascinated by the sea, and that's why the sea is a big part of this piece, because of his fascination with the sea.
He had hundreds of stories to pick from, and it seems very fitting that he would start with the sea for the first movement. So
yeah. Tonight's performance is performed by the Vienna Philharmonic, conducted by the Russian conductor Valery Gergiev at the 2005 Salzburg Festival. And thank you again for joining us. We're going to be in the comments section giving live commentary. Bernie might even make an appearance or say hi.
Or woof.
Yeah, that too. So thank you guys again. It is so wonderful to hear from you, and I hope you're enjoying these. We know that we are very much. So see you soon.
Take care. Bye.